Welcome to Marketing Speak. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer, and today it's my pleasure to have Natasha Miller with us. Natasha isn't your average CEO. She sits at the helm of Entire Productions, which has been an Inc. 5000 company for the last 3 years in a row. Natasha studied entrepreneurship at the Harvard Business School and MIT, and is a trained classical violinist and accomplished jazz vocalist. She resides in San Francisco and is a member and on the regional board of EO, which is Entrepreneurs Organization. Natasha, it's so great to have you on the show.
Hey, thank you. And I felt like interrupting and saying, but wait, there's more with the introduction.
Well, you have a book out, and it's an amazing memoir about your story. Why don't we actually start there? Because that is just um, such an inspirational hero's journey. And yeah, I would just love to start our episode that way.
Absolutely. It was a labor of love. It took a long time. When I first had the aha moment of it was time to write the book, I didn't know how long it would take. It took about 4 or 5 years. And I'm so glad I took that time to learn about writing a book, to learn the industry, to learn about what I wanted to put out there in the world. And it is exceeded any expectations and continues to do so.
So let's talk about the main kind of point of the book and what you were hoping to achieve, and then what the story of struggle is that makes up the meat of the book.
This, I think if I had to sum it all up, I would have to say that the book teaches or shows people that it's not enough to be resilient in trying to achieve your dreams and the things that you want to accomplish. You have to be relentless. And really, I came from a place of, you know, sort of down the tubes from the start. So I couldn't even be resilient. I was kind of thrown into a place of disarray upon being born. And then what I wanted it to do, I wanted to put my mark in the world. I wanted to say to all of the people that ignored my situation as I was growing up, both my family, my neighbors, teachers, I wanted to say, hey, I actually was worth, I had a value and I was worth being saved. And no one did that. But then showing people, yeah, no one is going to come save you. No one's coming to save you, but you very likely have it within yourself to get yourself to where you want to go.
Mm. You know the story about the guy who's he's stranded. It's a I don't know, a hurricane or a flood or something, and he's sitting on the roof of his house, and a rowboat comes, a guy in a rowboat, and says, "Hey, I'm here to save you. You better get off of that roof and get in my boat, or you're going to drown." And the guy says, "No, no, no. I got things covered. God's going to save me." And he's like, "I got a rowboat right here, right now. Get on the boat." And he's like, "Nope, God's going to save me." And so the guy finally gives up and leaves. And then I think it's a Coast Guard vessel comes and tries to coax the guy off of the roof. And he's like, "Nope, God's going to save me." And then the next one, the final one, is the helicopter comes, and now he won't get in the helicopter either. So of course he dies, and he's at the pearly gates, and God asks, well, he actually asks God, "Why didn't you save me? I thought you were going to save me." He's like, I tried. First I sent you a rowboat, and then I sent you the Coast Guard, and then I sent you a helicopter. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I really didn't get any of those things, but I got people along the way that, they did kind of push aside and ignore the situation that I was enduring, but they did help foster and support my creativity and my potential success.
Yeah. So what would be the my wife has this expression, sometimes it, well, it's a gift, but sometimes the bow is on the bottom. And
Mm.
I'm curious what sticks out in your mind from your childhood, uh, like as a homeless teen, as a foster
Mhm.
child, as a troubled teen, or somebody that was really in need of assistance and not getting it. What stands out as an incredible gift now in hindsight that didn't
Mm.
feel at all like that at the time?
It's a gift that I'd give back, honestly. So the gift is I really learned how to amplify every opportunity to its fullest capacity. I learned how to amplify challenges and turn them into opportunities. I learned a lot of, scrappy uh, ways of life, which is wonderful. But I think a lot of people, you hear people that have struggled or had challenges or whatever, they're like, I wouldn't change a thing. Truth is, yeah, I would have, if I could go back in time, which I cannot, I would have chosen to understand and know what it felt like to be loved and cherished and taken care of and feel that safety. And if it meant not having written this book or created the business that I did or having the kinds of success that I have today, I I'm, there's no way around. You can't go back, but I'd want that. I'd prefer that. I'd want that for my daughter. So I have a 27-year-old daughter, and she grew up with all the things that I didn't, all that kindness and support and love. And
Yeah,
would I have chosen the life I had for her? No way. Mm-mm.
yeah, yeah. It's a tough question to ask. I realize that, but one thing from my experience as a foster child and as a child who experienced a lot of abuse was, like I was bounced around and from home to home. I spent a few years in a foster home, but before that, I was living with my grandfather, who was terribly abusive, very physically violent, and with an aunt who, yeah, was pretty violent, or she was abusive, let's just say. And
Mm,
yeah, I just didn't feel safe throughout my childhood, and I didn't feel like I belonged. But would I change it, knowing
mm,
that it would have meant a totally different course of my life? Because, frankly, I got married at 19, first child at 20. There's no way that would have happened if I didn't
mhm,
have to grow up really fast and be mature for my age. So I wouldn't have my three grown daughters now,
mhm,
and there's no price that's worth giving them up. It's like, okay,
mhm.
if I'm gonna get, uh, I don't know, like kicked in the shin with steel-toed shoes by my grandfather, and have three amazing daughters, okay, that's I'm willing. I'm willing to do that.
Mhm,
I can't go back, of course, and change
mhm,
that. And if I had that power, I wouldn't change it because I know that would change the trajectory of my life and in a way that wasn't, um, giving me the ultimate outcome I was looking for. So, anyways, that's just
I think
my
that
take.
generation of our parents and even their parents, they didn't have the support mechanisms and the support systems and the research and the development of psychology,
Yeah,
psychiatric help, drugs, therapies. And a lot of us, actually, I'm finding, and especially successful people and entrepreneurs, a lot of us have gone through such horrible situations. And I read there is a study that 75% of us successful entrepreneurs have had a very significant something that they had to deal with. It makes
hmm,
perfect sense because we're all punching through and proving our worth and, trying to find value in ourselves and success. And for those of us that grew up with not money, no money, we're striving like that's all we can think about. That's actually not where I'm at, but I see this a lot. And then I look at someone like my daughter. She doesn't have to fight. And she's not super entrepreneurial minded. She's business minded, but I can see the potential effects that that generation of our elders and what they did to us or for us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great book. I don't know if you've read it, called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Have you read it?
Well, I haven't, but I have the fifth
Well, you get
agreement.
points for having it.
This is the fifth agreement. So I have not read either. Fun fact, I don't know if you've read the book. Did you read the book
Yeah.
or listen to it? You know that I found out that I had a sister after 50 years. She
Mm.
actually sent me that book.
Oh, well, you have to read it now.
I know, I know, I know.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, so I interviewed Don Miguel Ruiz's son for my other podcast, Forget Yourself Optimized. And one of the four agreements is to not take anything personally. And another one is to always do your best. And both of
Mhm.
those relate to each other, and they relate to what we've been talking about in the last few minutes. Because if you were in the same position that someone, let's say a caregiver or parent or grandparent, was in, with the same upbringing, the same information that they had available about child rearing and parenting, and the same kind of life circumstances, you pretty much do exactly the thing that they did. So that's the argument made in that book. There's a lot. I'm just picking one little tiny out of the very profound teachings, Toltec teachings in that book. But I think that's true. That if we put ourselves in the position of that person who should have known better, supposedly, at least from our perspective, but then we're imagining ourselves with just the information they had and just that life experience and all the trauma and so forth that they went through. Like, would I make such a vastly different life choice than they did? I don't know. I think I probably would end up having made the same choice or choices. So I think that takes some of the load off for us as like, all right, that's not fair what they did to us in our childhood or whatever, but it's not really their fault. It's
Mhm.
just they're a product of their upbringing and their environment and the social norms of the time and da 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 da. And therefore, I'm
Mhm.
not going to take this personally, and I'm just
But
going to take
you
100%
can't
responsibility for
understand.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, you can't understand that though as a young child.
no,
You
that's
can
very hard.
reflect
Like,
back on that and
yeah,
you can, if you're an adult experiencing that, you can think of it that way.
yeah,
But there's no way you could explain that to a toddler, a
mm,
8-year old, a preteen.
yeah.
Once you get into the teenage years, there's probably some ability to understand. But when it comes to your own situation, I think it still would be difficult to interpret.
Yeah, the expression that you can only connect the dots backwards. Um, yeah, I I see how everything kind of slotted into place to help me to be the person I am now, who I am so grateful to have stepped
Mhm.
into. And if I had gone down different pathways, who knows where that would have led. I'm just happy with where I'm at now and who I have become and who I continue to be unfolding into or stepping into. So I don't know. It's just it's really important, I think, to uh, cut our family some slack. I think, and forgive them because that expression that unforgiveness is like taking the poison you want to give to them, sort of thing. I'm butchering the expression, but basically, I don't want to. I don't want to take that poison for myself of unforgiveness. I just want to forgive and move on, and not
Mhm.
hold any grudges, even though it was terribly unfair and inappropriate and hurtful and so forth. I just got to let it go, and I have.
Yep.
I have.
Yes. The life is much better once you have reflected on it, turned it all upside down, inside out, and then, you have some distance from it and you can see. I mean, I also learned some things about my mother after I published the book, honestly, just a few months ago, that really doesn't excuse the way I was treated, but completely isn't the right word, very much explains why I was treated the way I was.
Mhm.
And I didn't know any of that beforehand.
Yeah.
So write your book if you want to know your own story.
That's good. That's really good advice. We
Hmm.
all have a book in us, right? That's
I think
that's
so. Yeah.
that's what the experts say. So, and I'm working on my memoir too, living in a friendly
Good.
universe. But anyways, let's talk about some marketing stuff. I know that you've built
Okay.
up quite a little empire there with entire productions. You put on amazing events for some
Hmm.
really fabulous, like blue chip clients and so forth.
Yeah, they're okay.
like, like
We use their stuff
remarkable
every day.
events. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's all part of an integrated marketing plan these days, thankfully. Event production, experience design. It's very needed and very impactful actually for these brands.
mm,
Um, they're integrating these events within their marketing campaigns of print, radio, TV, digital. And I think they're finding that experiential in person um, interaction with their brand, even if it's internally with their employees, is really powerful and valuable.
yeah. Yeah. There's an event that I forget the name of. I think it's in Las Vegas. It's like a light show, and
It's not CES,
no, no,
right?
no.
Okay.
It's an experience. It's like
Okay.
it's what's the event the burners go to every year? Uh,
Burning Man.
Burning Man. Thank you. It's
Hmm.
kind of like an installation, like a
Is it
Burning
Meow
Man.
Wolf?
Yes, that's it.
So I've been to the original Meow Wolf in New Mexico. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's otherworldly. And literally, you can be mesmerized as a small child and as an 80-year-old human
Hmm.
and everywhere in between.
Did that inspire you to like really go whole hog into these experiential events that you
Mm.
put on?
I was already full in, but
Okay.
before I stepped foot in Meow Wolf, and Meow Wolf, such a weird name, but totally normal. If
I know
you're,
that's why I couldn't remember it. It's just so
yeah,
weird.
yes, it is definitely. I mean, somebody was taking some psychedelics at some point when they were considering what to do with this space. It's very creative, and the interactions. Like I have photos and videos of my dad, who's now 78, opening up a refrigerator and walking in and coming out the other side in like a tube or something. I can't remember what it was. It's just so fabulous. You kind of get to, when you're a child. Now, could we replicate that for a corporate event? Absolutely. Would it be really expensive? Yeah. But that's exactly what we do. So we'll take some of the clients, let us just carte blanche decide what's going to happen. We've done through the Looking Glass, Alice in Wonderland themes, Willy Wonka themes. And again, these are for corporate tech, mostly adult events. We've done Under the Sea, Out of This World for Google. And we create these fully immersive themes for their guests to really dive into and have an experience that really attaches them to the brand, right?
Yeah.
And they become evangelists. And it's so much fun. And again, my company, Entire Productions, we produce the big sort of audacious events that are fun, that have a design element and entertainment and interactive element. We're not producing meetings and trade shows and conferences. Nothing wrong with those, by the way. That's just not our sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've heard this before. People don't remember what you tell them, but they remember how you make them feel.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
we want them to feel like, wow. And you can say wow when you walk into a place, but you have to keep it going. And you have
Hmm.
to keep it going with programming, with lighting cues, with sound cues, with smells, with food, with drink. There's a way to keep everybody engaged many different points during the event.
Yeah. And it's like the the details really matter, and that's where you can make the real magic. It's not just an incredible light show or something. It's, let's say I went to this event in, I don't know, maybe the late 90s. It was, I think, Personify, which probably doesn't even exist anymore. I think they got acquired and whatever after that. But it was personalization software for e-commerce. And I went to their party associated with a conference that they were exhibiting at. And one of the little details that was so impressive and memorable to me was they had these stickers, and you picked surf or turf. Like that's the sticker, surf on it, or the word turf on it. Another one is your place. Another sticker said mine. Another, like these different stickers. And the idea was you'd pick which ones out of the two different options for each sticker, and you'd build a little profile and you'd stick it on your shirt. So it's a your place, surf, etc. And you'd seek out people who had the similar stickers as you or the opposite stickers, and start rapport building or whatever with them, because you either were very compatible or you had a lot in common, that sort of thing. It was so clever, and it made sense given what their technology was about. I don't know if you've heard of that sort of thing before. And it was incredibly relevant, and it was fun,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
memorable. Here 20 some years later, I still remember that little aspect of that,
Yeah, and that
of that party.
interaction is so important because when you get even a group of, I was just recently at an event with 500 people. You get that many people together, and some people know each other. You're going to naturally go into these little pods of comfort. But having that kind of sticker challenge really mixes things up. And it really does lend itself to a much better event, especially for people that aren't super social or outgoing or confident, right? If somebody comes up to them, it's so much easier than if they have to come up to you. But even if they do have to come up to you, with a call to action or a plan is so much easier than hi. you know, Instead, I'd be like, hi, your place or mine? Like, by the way, um,
But
that's an
inappropriate for these
interesting
days.
thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I mean,
They
who
got away with
knows?
it in the
I like it.
90s.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Now you've got a bunch of cool things on your shelf behind you. For our
Oh, yeah.
listeners who are only listening and not watching this video, they don't know what those things are. But let's start with what looks like a cassette tape on the top there. Is that like a mixtape?
That is a really cool tin, that looks like a mixtape that Veuve Clicquot put out as like a special edition. And I don't drink. I don't like it. That's just, I just don't like alcohol. But I bought a bottle of Veuve Clicquot so that I could get that tin. And I think I gave the bottle to my daughter.
Oh, that's funny. So you didn't have
I'm an
anything to
80s
do with
girl.
that. Like that was just
Nope.
something you saw. You didn't
Yep.
put the event on, and that was one of the
Nope.
tchotchkes or anything. What would be
Nope.
something from the shelves that was part of the event that you put on, and was maybe something that was your brainchild?
Oh gosh, oh, here. I'm going to pull it out. This was for a holiday event. And again, to hit on well, not every, but as many things as you can, you want someone to be able to hear something. So a speech or music then you want them to be able to do something like dance or do a photo booth or pose in a step and repeat. And then it's always great to give somebody something to take away with them, but not something that they're going to throw away. A tchotchke, something with somebody's logo on it is not a gift. So we had, and this is actually a drawing of me, but we had a fashion sketch artist that was doing these sketches, and I actually put mine in a frame.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So she did one of these for every guest. So it's not a caricature like a comical comic book look, which is also something that people stand in line for. But like I was wearing a gold and diamond necklace that you can see here, and I was wearing this crystal here, and these ridiculous earrings, and it was just cool. And I think that, this is on really nice watercolor paper, and it's pen and ink, and there's some gold that really stands out. I think that anybody that got this drawing has it somewhere in their home.
Yeah, they didn't throw it
It's
up.
not in a waste, it's not in a garbage bag. And that is what we try to do. Not exactly this, but that kind of thing for all events.
Right. Like I could imagine, for example, let's say it's a financial planning event, and you walk away as an attendee with a big oversized dollar bill, and it's got you instead of a president.
That's fun. And what we do though is we try to do something that's opposite of what's expected.
Mm.
So, you know, but that they would still like, right? And it's that surprise and delight. Although yours is pretty cool to go home with a bill with your
I
face on
just
it
made
would be
that up
very
on the
funny.
fly, so
I
I
know.
think it was pretty
You're
good.
hired. You're hired.
It reminds me of Dan Kennedy talking about shock and awe.
Hmm.
Right? The shock and awe box that, let's say you're an
Hmm.
author, it's got your book in there. Maybe it's a t-shirt or a mug or something in there too, but there's some stuff in there that will blow your mind.
Hmm.
It's like,
And I did that. So I'm going to show you. I don't have the whole box, but this is the box that was designed for my book release.
okay, yeah, that's a
And
cool box. I
it
like it.
was the value of everything in it was $3,500. So
What?
it was a shocker. Yes, it included ability to take my course, Memoir Sherpa, and it had this gold necklace in it that has the word Relentless engraved with my handwriting. It had a little bag of malted milk balls, some scratch and sniff popcorn stickers. It had um, two postcards with my book cover on it that were stamped that said, "You've got to read this book," so that the recipient could send it to their friends or whatever. So yeah, I doubled down big time on this box. I'm so proud of it, and I love looking at it, and people loved getting it. It went out to 100 people that I chose from my community, and people loved the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet people even would have taken some videos and posted those on social media, the unboxing and all
Yes,
that.
they're all on my social media, which is, I guess, if you go to Instagram, Natasha Miller SF. um, I've had people do it to music, people that did voiceover to it. I actually taped my daughter doing it, and we're very close, but she is not one to like mug for her mama, right? So she if you want to see a funny video, you can see my daughter trying to amp up just a little bit of enthusiasm for her boring mother's book launch, and it's pretty funny.
Oh, that's cute. Awesome. Yeah, so I remember interviewing Michael Burnoff, who wrote the book Average Sucks, and he created a shock and awe box for his book that he got so much press and like social media coverage for. Everybody wanted the box with all the cool
Yeah,
stuff in it, and so he started selling it.
yeah. That is something that is on the list to do. I wanted enough time to pass between. Actually, I did sell them, so I sold them for 350 for my book launch. I did it in person book launch at the San Francisco MoMA Theater for about 200 people, where I performed on stage with a 5-piece band because I've basically have the soundtrack of my life created with all my recordings. And if when you bought a ticket to that book launch, it included, the performance and then a big gala afterward in the atrium of the museum. But you could also we did an upsell and you could buy this box. And it's funny, the people that bought the box had already received the book or already had the book. By the way, the book was also in the box.
Right.
Um, but they wanted more. They wanted, and some people bought two. I was like, okay, you're either really supporting me or you really think this is cool.
Or a stalker.
Oh, yeah. Well, that kind of, yeah, that happens upon occasion.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, how, you're a violinist. Were you
Hmm.
like what was your performance like at the museum?
Oh, I had created an experiential keynote basically. And within that experiential keynote, I would set up uh, maybe one of the chapters with a small read of the actual chapter, either while my band was playing a song that I had written that relates to that chapter, or they would start it after I read the excerpt, and then I would pop in, perform or sing maybe a verse and a chorus, or even a shorter piece. And we did that throughout the entire thing. So I walked people through, maybe 8 sections of my book. And it was I mean, I can't liken it to anything because, like, I don't want to call it a one woman show. It wasn't that. I had a band. It wasn't cabaret because it's not overly dramatic and, like Patty Lupone. Um, it's either, you could think of it this way, it was like stories to go along with the music in a concert form, or the music to go along with the stories in a book reading.
That's
And
brilliant.
it was magical.
You must have had professional videographers and photographers capturing that event. What did you do with that?
Yes.
What did you do with the recordings?
Okay. So far, I haven't done what I'm going to do with it in the future. But so far, I allowed the people that bought tickets to the event to watch it on YouTube. And I will be, oh God, there's so many things I'm going to do with it. I'm going to run it through this program called lately.ai,
Yep.
which pulls out different clips and sprinkles it over social media on a cadence that you decide. The owner of that company is phenomenal, Kate Bradley Chernus, and she and I work together on a bunch of projects, and it's really changed my life for social media. I look amazing on social media because of lately.ai. Let's just put it that
Oh,
way.
that's cool.
I
I was
might
just
gate it.
recommending
Um,
lately.ai to one of my
oh, good.
clients. Yeah.
Yeah. I may gate it for people to pay to watch it. I may use it for a 1 year anniversary relaunch of the book. There's so many things I can do with that. I can pull excerpts from it into my speaking reel, into a sizzle reel. And the thing is that I had a 25-point marketing plan for my book, which was very overwhelming, a little bit crazy, or let's just call it what it is, absolutely batshit crazy, and very effective. But it really pushed my limits. And by the time I got the video back from that performance, I had to give it some space. And I was already just delusion, like everything was being thrown at my community all at once. And so I wanted to sort of savor it. And, especially there were 200 people at that event. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that could consume this in other various ways. Um, so, yeah, lots of potential things to happen with it.
So 25-point marketing launch checklist for your book. Wow. What did you put into that? And did you start with something or did you start with just a
Oh,
blank
God.
page and
Oh,
just
no.
channel what you're
I
going to
just
do?
do everything this way. Like I'm an all out kind of person. I knew for sure that, well, I have 7 CDs of my own music and a few that I've produced of other people. And each CD was its own beautiful baby of a project, but none of them were like, this is my one stamp on life. that I want everyone to know.
Magnum opus.
And I think I knew that I would continue to record, different recordings throughout my lifetime. But with this book, I wanted it to be, this is my swan song. This is it. This is not necessarily the last book I'll ever write, but this is the most important book
Mm-hmm.
I will ever write.
Yeah.
So I put all of my weight, time, energy, finances into creating the book, crafting the book cover, every element for the book launch. And I wanted to go above and beyond. I also knew when I was creating this plan, I already had this excitement of being able to teach other people, other entrepreneurs, thought leaders, industry tycoons, titans, um, the importance of writing their own story and figuring out how to publish it and then how to market it.
Mm.
And if becoming a best-selling author is important to you too, I want to help with that. So I knew that all this experience would be translated into something that I would be able to deliver after the book.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
that's my excuse for going all the way into crazy land with my marketing plan.
So, is there a way that people end up seeing your 25-point marketing plan, or
Yeah.
do they have to hire you to do their book launch? How does that work?
A few ways. So I have done the overview masterclass of this plan, and I've done it a couple of times. And I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, my full time job is not marketing, but I love it. I love branding and marketing. And um, I was able to present this 1 hour overview. I almost got to the end. I mean, 25 points is hard to do in an hour for my entrepreneurs organization group that from people all over the world that were either an author or speaker. And when I was done with it, and by the way, I created this presentation knowing that I was presenting to my peers and I had to knock it out of the park. I had to wow them. I wasn't going to go in there and just be conversational. I wanted to stand out in that group as something amazing that they never expected. And I think I did that because the looks on everyone's faces and some of the comments in the chat, and then also comments emailed to me. I got comments like this, like, my job is marketing. You blew my mind. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, proof of concept. I'm good. So I do present this marketing overview, and I'm doing it for the Forbes Business Council on October 12th. I'll probably create a masterclass that is a funnel into the Memoir Sherpa program. However, I have decided and found that within the program, that marketing module, which is 25 lessons, it's its own um, program.
Yeah,
It can be a
it's
standalone.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't know until I did the program and did the work. Well, I should have known, but I just didn't pay attention that it can be its own segment and that somebody not writing a memoir, but writing a business book, or even honestly, anyone trying to promote anything, if they do these things. And some of the things are a book launch, a book summit, a book trailer, advanced reader program, influencer. I'll use your term, shock and awe box.
Mm-hmm.
So there's many things that you can do, and you can translate that into almost anything.
Yep. Yeah. So
So
I
you got me going.
I loved the book trail. The hardest part about something like, let's say, a book trailer is finding a standout example to emulate.
Mm,
And the one that stands out for me is Jessica Simpson wrote a book called Open Book.
okay.
Her book trailer is only maybe a minute and a half long, and it's awesome. You really get a sense for her. If you weren't a fan, you get to know what she's about and
Mm,
what her story is, but just enough that it teases you. It doesn't give away the punchline.
mm,
I love it. I just love sending that to people, and I say, when I tell them, "Hey, you need to do a book trailer for your book," Here's a
Hmm.
beautiful example of one done really well.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
I love mine. For mine, it's cinematic. I also spent more money on it than authors probably will and should, quite honestly. But this is a creative endeavor for me. So
Mhm.
I'm fulfilling lots of different needs. And there are people that will write a book in a weekend or have a ghostwriter write it for them in 15 days and they print it, and they're not putting a lot of attention into anything because it's a calling card, or you'd think they would if it's going to be a calling card or a business, card
Right.
type thing. But I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs that have books and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not going to spend any money on it. I just need it for proof of authority." And I'm thinking, why would you do something not excellent if it had to do with your brand? But if it works for them, fine.
Yeah. Another great example of a book trailer I found is it's not my favorite, but it's my second favorite. Is by
Okay.
Metaxas. I think that's how you pronounce his name, and it's called Miracles: What They Are, Why They Happen, and How They Can Change Your Life. He's got this shtick and for this trailer where he's going through a slideshow presentation like it was the 1970s or something. Like a Mad Men episode, and
Yeah.
it's just really really well done, and very theatrical and great storytelling, and he's clever and funny and witty. Just it's very engaging. So that was another great example. Most book trailers are trying to explain the book, and
Yeah.
that doesn't work. I don't think it kind of defeats the
I
purpose.
think mine explains the book. It's just an overview and it's narrated by me. It doesn't go into great detail. It's a teaser,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yeah,
it's something to get somebody's attention, and you want them to say, "Whoa, what the heck was that? I want to know more."
right. Instead of, oh,
Yeah,
now I understand what the book is. Like a movie trailer that gives you the
yeah,
whole story arc won't make me want to go see the movie.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you got book trailers, one of the 25 will be another one that stands out for you.
How about the one that I decided not to do,
Okay, which was that?
and why? Oh my gosh! So I got on the NFT roller coaster a couple of years ago, and
Yeah.
own a couple. I have a Gary V token. Like I wanted to understand and crack the code of what it was, and I wanted to be in on that big new thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do an NFT project for this book release. Well, thank God I realized that that would be the tipping point of my mental health. And also, my audience isn't there yet. I mean, it was difficult enough for me to figure out the intricacies of NFTs and just getting a, meta wallet, and there's
Yeah,
so many hoops
MetaMask.
to jump
Yep,
through.
yep.
MetaMask, right? There's so many hoops to jump through. Why would you want to piss off your community and readers and frustrate them, right? Because my readers aren't necessarily interested in crypto or NFTs right now. I'm 10 years ahead of time. So I had the wherewithal and I had the whole plan. Like I had decided what was going to happen. It was so exciting. And in fact, I had the artist that did the artwork for this. So this image here is actually an artist rendering of a photo of me, and we pushed up and off the page for the book. But I had all the ideas for the variants, whatever. Anyway,
Yep,
I didn't do it, and I'm so glad. That doesn't mean I can't do it in the future.
yeah. Of course. So this funny NFT skit that was on Saturday Night Live. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
It is awesome. It's hilarious. It's a parody of the Eminem song "Without Me."
Okay.
and
I'll have to
and it's
look it up.
what the hell is an NFT? It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'll include
Yeah.
it in the show notes for this episode. I'll also
Also, let's just say, what does non-fungible mean?
yeah
Like, who knew what that word even was?
yeah.
It's not a daily term.
Well, some people in crypto still don't know what that means. It's just
Yeah.
the quick answer is it's not swappable for something of the same value. Like I can trade $1 bill with another dollar bill, and it makes absolutely no difference. Whereas if I had a collectible stamp and swapped it for a different collectible stamp, they're different stamps.
Yeah.
Especially if it's
For me, I love, yeah, I was just going to say I love the idea with an NFT that if you bought my book, for instance, let's just say you pay 19.99, I get whatever I'm going to get from it. You want to sell it to somebody at a garage sale and they buy it as an NFT. That person that sold it gets some money and then I get a cut.
right.
So, and that's repeatable forever. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
But
very
that's
cool.
my own, yeah, personal win. But then the win actually continues. We can go, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But I didn't do it and I don't have plans to do it anytime soon. But that does not mean I will not do it.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, the ability to have royalties on each sale transaction in per perpetuity.
Perpetuity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is a feature of NFTs because of smart contracts, because you can code
Hmm.
whatever parameters into the smart contract that you want around royalties and transaction fees and so forth. Yeah, really, really cool.
Hmm.
Okay, let's change topics again here and talk about TikTok. What are you doing on TikTok, or what are your plans for TikTok? I personally am not on TikTok. I don't even have the app installed on my phone. If I had to be on TikTok, I would get a separate kind of burner phone that wouldn't have any other apps on it or any of my personal information on it. So none of that personal data would get siphoned and sent over to
Hmm.
China. So
Yeah, gotcha.
yeah,
I consume on TikTok. I haven't done a TikTok initiative. However, one of my students in the Memoir Sherpa program just told me that she's been reading my book aloud on TikTok live. And then she said, "Is that okay?" So she's not recording it though, which, so it's just going out live and she's not recording it and then posting it again. That was kind of cool. I was like, yes, you can read my book on TikTok.
yeah,
I mean, she reads excerpts from it or,
yeah.
reads
No,
a
that's cool.
chapter or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
that's
I think with TikTok, you have to have a plan, right? You have to have a plan of attack. And Instagram for me, Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter are what I focus on. And I was already in and on all those platforms prior to my book launch. And I continued and just amped up the initiative that I have for those platforms. I didn't want to add TikTok yet until I had like a very specific thing that I would focus on. And I don't even know what that thing is, but I just know that there needed to be a concerted plan.
hmm yeah. But now with the platforms like Instagram and YouTube, with their own
The
kind of
shorts
ripoffs
and the
of
lives and reels.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then if you're not going to be on TikTok, you still need to master these short video, and snackable video
Hmm.
uh, type campaigns in order to stay
Yeah.
relevant on Instagram and YouTube and probably other platforms in the future.
Yeah. I have reels. Okay. I'm not pointing or dancing at anything. So that's one thing I can tell you. I refuse to point at, I just can't do it.
So no
But
reaction
I am
videos
doing,
with somebody else's video above you and you're pointing up at the video that
I haven't done, yeah, I haven't done a duet. I mean, I'm still basic reels, but Yeah, I mean, they definitely do get pushed out more. But next week it'll be something else and reels will be dead because it was stories before and then it was live before that they were pushing.
Right.
Whatever their whim is, we have to follow suit.
Yeah. Although the idea of doing reaction videos, I think, has a timeless aspect to it. Let's say that you're a body language expert and you kind of deconstruct the Will Smith slap of Chris Rock. And you're like, was this
Oh
staged
my
or
gosh.
was this real? And was it premeditated or whatever? You could get a lot of views and watch time by deconstructing that. And right on the coattails, newsjacking or whatever you want to call it, riding on the coattails of a trending topic, I think has some potential.
I'll consider that.
I wouldn't want to capitalize on somebody else's pain,
Right.
and
There are other ways to do it.
yeah. So I always look for ways to reveal light in everything I do, including every podcast episode and every speech I do on stages, every
Mm,
client deliverable I present. Yeah, just that's kind of my North Star. Am I going to be revealing light in this?
good.
And yeah, that changes the outcome, it changes the output.
Yeah,
That intention
I agree.
really matters. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think at this, point in our lives, we realize that is an important factor, and it is our responsibility to lift people up and spotlight them and highlight them versus pull them down. Because any human being has, you can focus on one or the other. We all have it, right? We have some negative things that somebody could focus on, but
Yeah.
even in focusing on negative things, I like to turn it around. And I saw you doing that, with me and my story and asking about the bow that might have been hidden at the bottom of the box.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in our shadow is the gold or the treasure. What was the
Mm.
Joseph Campbell quote about in the cave? I'm going to find it. One second. This is a great quote.
I'm not great on quotes.
Okay, this is such a fabulous quote. the The short version is, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
Oh,
But
yeah.
here's the longer version. It is by going down into the abyss that we recover the treasures of life. Where you stumble, there lies your treasure. The very cave you are afraid to enter turns out to be the source of what you are looking for. The damned thing in the cave that was so dreaded has become the center. You find the jewel, and it draws you off. How beautiful is that?
Well, I definitely found my cave a few times.
Well, hopefully the jewel, not just the
I
cave.
did. Yes, I found the jewel in the cave.
Okay.
I entered the cave numerous times.
Yeah, the cave sucks, but the jewel's pretty awesome.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know we're out of time. So if our listener wants to learn from you, sign up for your Memoir Sherpa program, or follow you on socials, or get your book, all that sort of good stuff, where do they go?
Mhm. Well, right now, they would go to the official natashamiller.com website. However, thanks to you, I might be getting natashamiller.com in the very near future.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, by the time this
Mhm.
airs, I'm sure you'll have it.
Yes.
Because we got a few more weeks before this will air. So
Yeah.
I have very positive expectancy for you on that one, because I know you've been wanting that for a long time.
Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, that's exciting. So, we'll put the link in the show notes to whichever the official site is by the time this episode airs, and then
Okay.
your firm that does those amazing experiential events, Entire Productions. That's
Hmm.
entireproductions.com.
Mhm.
And on
And if you're on social media, it's Natasha Miller SF. That's for San Francisco. So,
awesome. Natasha, this was such a great conversation, and you're so inspiring and so
mhm.
interesting and so brilliant. Wow. I just loved it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
And
you so much.
thank you, listener. Now do something extraordinary. Make yourself memorable by revealing light and not trying to do it for your ego. We'll catch you in the next episode. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer, signing off.